What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode. Today is it's a fun topic, but one that honestly I don't feel quite worthy enough to talk about. But it's a subject matter that's come up and up and up and up. And one of the things that I'm probably most proud of is our culture. And we've really worked hard to align values within our organization. And just the other day, we had an amazing article come out in Entrepreneur, and I want to talk about that on the video, but also the link is definitely going to be below on entrepreneur.com, right? And so how do we create a culture that has really sound values that gives the ability to scale and grow? And I think, we're on track to be one of the fastest growing companies actually in the US next year, definitely one of the fastest growing marketing agencies. And I push a lot of that value to our culture and our investment in culture and people. Number one thing that we have to do in order to build a culture based on values is set them, is to define them. At Hite, for me personally, it's about my values. I'm the owner, I'm the founder, I'm the CEO. Everything starts and stops with me, right? What are my values that I bring to the organization? And at Hite, we have two. Number one is faith. For me, I'm a Christian, very religious. I'm not afraid to talk about my faith in the office, and we do it all the time. It doesn't mean that if you're not a Christian and you're not a person of faith, you can't have a lot of success at Hite, but you have to be comfortable with it. You have to be willing to be a part of it, right? The number one thing that we have as a center point of our values is faith. Number two is family. At Hite, very big into my family, very big into our family at the Hite culture. My newborn son, my daughter is constantly in the office. We constantly have kids here. And in fact, yesterday we just got done remodeling our nursery. Maybe we can throw a picture up of that if it gets done in time. It's been an incredible experience, but family values is everything. Because the family values, it's not just about like, oh, I have a brother, I have a sister. It's about loving and respecting others. It's about not always getting along, but being able to overcome. It's about having each other's back, right? Like I may be mean to you, and that's okay because you're my bro, but if anybody else picks on you, like we're going after them, right? How do we create a culture that has each other's back? Step one in growing a company really based on values is to define them. Number two, and this is one I struggle with. I've been coached on it. We've all heard the saying, and I struggle with it. I'm going to put it in here. And it's a saying, hire ridiculously slow, fire fast. At Hite, we love the idea of hire slow, fire fast. But honestly, we're hire really, really, really slow, and we're fire kind of slow. To be honest with you, right? Like when you're a part of our family, right? Like I wish, if I could get rid of my, third child, maybe that's an option. Like you can't get rid of family. You can't get rid of family. So at Hite, we're very cautious of who we bring on because it's a part of our nature that like we really don't want to let people go. We do everything we can to keep them. But the reality is that culture is the number one reason. And at Hite, in 3 years, 100 and something team members, we've had to fire 3 people. We've had to fire 3 people, two of which were because of culture issues, both of which had to do with gossip, had to do with happiness, right? And so hire slow, fire fast. Number 3 is practice what you preach. Guys, like this sounds like super like, I don't know, like duh, no joke, right? But so many companies, I see their values and I'm like, really? Like you focus on family? You cheated on your wife last month. Like, does that really, because it stems down, right? Like if my focus is family and my wife isn't a center part of the company, if my kids are not around, if I don't treat people like brothers and sisters, how is that value going to flow forward? And so for me, it's about being honest. I interview and I coach a lot of agencies where, dude, they're focused on money. And that's what they love. That's what they enjoy. That's their passion. And whether you think it's right or wrong is irrelevant. But their company is going to be based on that, right? If they said their values were family, but still everything was focused around money, there would be a lot of like twisting and turning and conflict, and just state what it is and let's roll with it. I would rather have someone super honest about their values and bring on like-minded people than anything else, right? Number 4 is follow up and survey. At Hite, we do lots of surveys, and we're one of the first things we always ask is like, here's our pillars, here's our values. How do you believe our company is lining up to those? How do you believe our leaders are lining up to these? How do you believe your team members are lining up to these? We're constantly looking to go, how are we as an organization perceived within our team, right? And so if you really believe in that value, if you really believe that family is a value, or faith, or money, or growth, or scalability, or happiness, or whatever it is, and you're not surveying, you're not checking it, and you're not empowering it and pushing it forward, we're gonna have lots of issues, right? It's great that you think your culture is X, Y, and Z, but do your team think it's X, Y, and Z? And then number 5, as you're collecting those data, it's constantly realignment. Constantly realignment, right? I just found out just yesterday that one of our teams was kind of struggling. The culture of that little team has shifted a little bit. So what are we doing? Next week, we're going to have pizza, right? We're going to talk about it. We're going to share, and I'm going to learn, like, what's the root of this and how do we hone it back in, right? Because I know at the core who these people are and what their motives are and how they act, but there's a misalignment. How do we get realigned, right? For me, this is something that I spend a lot of my time on. A lot of my time is on culture. It's on people. It's on human beings, on happiness. Who we bring in, who we let off, how we move people around, how we incentivize people, how we spend our money as an organization. Do we take it out in dividends? Do we invest in other things? Are we just making a lot of money? Are we reinvesting it back into our people? All of these things come into a very complex, multifaceted organization mechanism we call culture. So give it some thought, give it some ideas. Definitely comment below. I'd love your thoughts on culture. What is your company doing to help empower that culture? How do they really put their energy behind those core values that they want? Let me know your thoughts. Definitely subscribe. If you made it this far, you like the content, you gotta subscribe, you gotta like the video. I look forward to learning from each and every one of you guys, and I look forward to hearing more about you, your journey, where you're at, and most importantly, where you're headed.